want to show you ways that you can leverage the different advertising platforms and figure out which advertising platform is best in your case. So it really depends on a lot on who you're targeting and what's in your content. So I'm going to go over kind of the major platforms that we work a lot with and have worked a lot with over the years. LinkedIn is definitely a big proponent of video right now. In fact, LinkedIn is making a big push. You may have already been seeing some of the video content if you're on the platform, that LinkedIn is an area that definitely is focusing on video more than they ever have. Probably the top of all of them is going to, in fact, not probably, it is, YouTube. They actually have more streaming time than any other platform, including Netflix, which was the top competitor. They actually have beat them all in streaming. So more people watch video on YouTube than any other platform on the internet, which means it's the biggest one of them all. So that's a great one. Another one is Instagram. And I'm just going to loop in or just kind of include Facebook in that, since they're owned by the same company. And since we're talking about advertising, we're going to loop in YouTube with Google. And so we're going to loop in these together. And then the other big one is going to be Twitter, not Twitter. The other big one is going to be TikTok. Now, there are some other considerations that could be X, which used to be Twitter. Another consideration would be Snapchat. They have ad platforms as well. I'm not going to discuss those ad platforms in this video, but those are also some also mentions that you may want to look at as well. So what's going to determine where my content goes, if I'm advertising for a client or if I'm advertising for my business, what's going to help me determine it is what kind of content is it, first of all. So if I'm going to be spending ad dollars, I want to make sure it strikes at the best possible way. All right. So if it's more business to business type content, if I'm very targeted on the type of person who I want to see the content, that's going to be an opportunity for me to use LinkedIn. I'm going to probably use LinkedIn 7 days a week and twice on Sunday if it comes to extreme targeting. To give you an example, let's say I only want to target people who work at companies that have 5,000 or more employees. Let's say I want to make sure they have a director or a manager type position, or if I'm targeting CEOs, things of that nature. There's really no other comparison when it comes to that because you can get the most targeted with LinkedIn. Now, there is one caveat with LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, right now, they are building their video platform, but they don't get as much stream time. So the CEOs, those people who you're targeting, whether it's directors, whoever it is, the likelihood out of all of these platforms for them to be watching video is highest on YouTube. But the problem there is the targeting, because the targeting involves much more nuance on YouTube than it would on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can simply open up an ad, the ad platform, go into it, create a campaign. You can start targeting by size of company, position, interests, a number of different things with the LinkedIn platform. So when we're talking B2B, that's generally my go-to. Now, if I have a product or a service that I'm selling direct to the consumer, then I'm probably going to pick one of these three, and my consideration is going to vary depending on my content and what I'm selling. I'm not saying you cannot sell high-ticket items on TikTok, but in my experience, if your price point is less than $1,000 for whatever it is you're selling, you have a much greater chance, and I would say less than $100 is even better, much greater chance on TikTok. If you're dealing with more higher priced items, I would definitely go to YouTube first. And then Instagram is pretty versatile. I like the way on Instagram you can target pretty good. Their data is very good. So they're able to collect a lot of data about people to the point where you're going to be able to show them ads that they're actually really interested in. I just noticed I had Facebook misspelled. I forgot an O in Facebook. There we go. So targeting is great here. The data is great. You can target very well on this for products and services. If you're in recruiting, which a lot of my business is in recruiting, When you're getting into recruiting, each one of these platforms has a different feature for recruiting. Because we have to be careful about discrimination, and the platforms are protecting themselves and us from discrimination claims, is that once you are recruiting for a position or just recruiting in general, you're going to be put in a special ad category. Special ad category means you're not going to have some of the extreme targeting that you would normally have on either of these platforms. So some of that targeting goes away when you're recruiting for a job. But if you're selling a product or a service, as long as it's not financial services and as long as you're not doing political advertising, you should be able to use all of the targeting features of these particular platforms. On LinkedIn, they've been pretty flexible with targeting. So even in recruiting, we can recruit based on demographics in terms of things like if they went to a certain school or got a certain type of schooling, if they work at certain types of companies, if they have certain positions that you approve, you can still target. That's what makes this so much more superior when it comes to a targeting aspect, whether it's B2B or for recruiting. Now, going back to what I mentioned earlier, the caveat with LinkedIn is that your audience is limited. Most people on LinkedIn are not spending a lot of time on LinkedIn yet. I'm sure that will change. They average somewhere around 17 to 20 minutes a month, which is not very much. It's only about 30 to 45 seconds a day. So you don't have much view time to get these folks to watch your video. So it's great for targeting, but the dwell time is not high on LinkedIn. So that leaves us for recruitment marketing to also look at these other platforms. And the way that you're going to really target your content when it comes to recruitment is by your content. So what you're talking about. So if you're talking about recruiting for nurses and why it's a great place to be a nurse at a particular facility, these platforms are going to be able to transcribe what you're saying in the video, and they're going to point that video in the direction of people who are more interested in nurse-related content, especially when it comes to looking for a job. So the way you're going to be able to really segment your content and target on these platforms without having the benefit of picking the titles yourself is going to be through the content that you're sharing. Obviously, you want to do the same thing with LinkedIn because you don't want to target a certain type of person and show them other content that they wouldn't be interested in. That's not going to help you either. Each of these platforms have pluses and minuses when it comes to video. By far, YouTube, to me, has the most flexibility in terms of video because you can have as many as, I want to say it's 100 videos in a campaign. So you can have a lot of videos. You can really see, okay, over time, which one of these videos are really connecting with my audience, and the cream will rise to the top with YouTube. It's a little more difficult with Instagram and Facebook because right now, this is as of October 2025, the most amount of videos I can put in one campaign is just 10, or 10 in an ad set, I should say. They call them ad sets. So I'm gonna have to sit there and create a lot of different ones, and I'm gonna have a little bit harder time figuring out which one is the best, whereas on YouTube, I can put up to 100 in a particular campaign. TikTok, an advantage of TikTok, you can do more than 10. You can do quite a few videos in TikTok and run your advertising there. That's an advantage. So they are very much video first. So if you've got quick, punchy content, if it's promotional, if it's 10, 15 seconds, you're gonna get a whole lot more play on this. Definitely don't go over 30 seconds. You're gonna see your engagement drop tremendously for promotional content. Okay, so that's kind of a rundown of these main four. It really depends on what types of things you're selling, but I would say high ticket items, I would definitely go to YouTube. If it's B2B or recruiting, I would probably start with LinkedIn first, and especially if you don't have a lot of content yet. And then Instagram and Facebook, products and services, typically products and services that are less than $1,000. More often than not, if your pricing is below $100, same way with TikTok, if you're in that area, you have a much greater chance of success much faster because that's where a lot of the sales are coming from by far. If you do have higher ticket items, just make sure and be prepared to have a whole lot more content ready, a lot more videos. Make sure you're leading them to a landing page that talks more about the products and services you offer and just kind of help build up your product more because it's going to be difficult to create a lot of value in a person's mind in 30 seconds, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the different video platforms. They're all good. They all have their place, but some definitely shine over the others depending on what you're looking to do. All right, so hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear back from you. Let me know if you'd like to drill down more on either one of these platforms. I'll be happy to do that with you. And of course, if we're potentially a fit for you guys, feel free and DM me for that as well. Thanks for watching.